I've spent 20 years in tech, internet backbones, real-time voice and video, cybersecurity, product leadership. And for most of that time, I thought there were two paths, two options if you're a nerd without an MBA. Option one, stay at a big company, climb the ladder, work the system, collect a paycheck. Option two, go start something, raise money, get acquired, maybe get rich, maybe go bankrupt. That was it. Those were the choices. And everyone around me seemed to agree. We had this confirmation bias thing going on. If you work at a big company, you watch acquisitions happen. Startups get bought, founders cash out, and you're sitting there thinking, that's the move. I should be on the other side of that table. Build something, sell it, rinse, repeat. The numbers in that dream, though, not great. About half of all new businesses fail within 5 years. That's the Bureau of Labor Statistics, not some blog post. For venture-backed startups, it's worse. 3 out of 4 never return a dollar to investors. That's from a Harvard Business School study of 2,000 companies. You don't hear those stats at tech happy hours. You only hear the survivors. So while I was absorbing all of this as gospel, something completely different was happening in my own family. My sister Christine was managing the books at a small e-commerce company. Good business, profitable, been around for years. Then the owner decided to retire, and he was part of this enormous wave. McKinsey just published a report last week. 6 million small businesses in the US are going to need new owners by 2035. That's $5 trillion in enterprise value. And here's the part that got me. Right now, 92% of small business exits end in the owner just shutting it down. Locking the door, the employees lose their jobs, the owner walks away with nothing after decades of work. And some buyer out there never even knew the opportunity existed. Not because anything was wrong with the business. Nobody showed up. So, a family-run company bought Christine's employer, not a fund, not a VC-backed roll-up. A family that buys and operates small businesses, service franchises, e-commerce, that kind of thing. Quiet, extremely profitable, putting all their kids through school. Nobody's ever heard of them. Christine figured she'd be lucky to keep her job. She'd seen what happens in acquisitions. Most of us have. The buyers told her later that they'd originally planned to let her go. Then they met her. They figured out who was actually making things work. And instead of cutting her, they handed her more responsibility than she'd ever had. Running finance across the entire organization, managing the business she'd built from the inside, handling purchasing across every brand in their portfolio. She went from, they were going to let me go, to being the person they can't run without. Here's what stuck with me. A huge part of the value of that acquisition was Christine herself. She wasn't a line item. There was no row on the spreadsheet that said exceptional operations person who will run your entire finance function for the next decade. But that's what they got. That's the part of the value nobody calculates. I've watched a few acquisitions up close in my own career, and the pattern holds. The ones where the acquiring company invested in the people, learned who they were, figured out where they fit, gave them a reason to stay. Those became the most profitable parts of the portfolio. The ones where they bought the technology or the customers and didn't have a plan for the humans, everyone walked. Growth collapsed. Hundreds of millions in value evaporated. Not because the product was bad, but because the people left. My sister didn't start a company. She didn't pitch investors. She didn't grind through a 90-hour-week accelerator program. Neither did the family that employs her. They just bought businesses that already worked and made them better, starting with the people inside them. I used to think that was boring. Now I think it might be the smartest thing nobody in my world is paying attention to. I've been reading everything I can find on this, talking to people, going down a bunch of wormholes in my free time. I don't know exactly where they lead yet, but I haven't been this curious about anything in a long time.